himself, the indictment has led to new support. But again, we want to hear from you. But before we go to the phone lines, I want to chat for a bit this morning with Clifford Young. He is the U.S. Public Affairs President for Ipsos, which is a polling company. So good morning, Clifford. How are you this morning?
I'm great, Tia. It's great to be here.
Thank you for joining us. So let's start. I'm going to go ahead and pull up that latest Ipsos polling. And it says, for Trump's indictment, don't expect much movement from the public. Now, this is based on polling that preceded the indictment news. Is that correct, Clifford?
Correct. It's polling leading up to it, and so we have to take it obviously with a grain of salt. But we're in the field right now, and we should have data later today or on Monday relative to the first impact of the indictment. But I think it's a good starting place. It gives a good idea about where the public stands.
Okay, and so what are some of those major conclusions, again, from that last polling? But it's still relatively recent polling, right?
Yes, it's right up to the indictment. So it gives you an idea about, where the population, where the public, where America was right before the indictment. And what does it say? I mean, in broad brushstrokes, it once again shows that it's a tale of two nations, right? We have a Republican nation, we have a Democratic nation, blue, red, that see, the world through very, very different lenses. Now, that said, and I'll go into the details in a bit on the data, but that said, about 70% of Americans believe that Trump paid hush payments to Stormy Daniels. And so there's even 50% of Republicans, but that's the only point of consensus. When you peel away the onion and ask Americans about what they think, they reflect a lot of what you've just stated about political elites. Republicans see it as politically motivated, about 80% or so. They see it as an attempt to take Trump out before 2024. They blame the Democrats. They blame the Biden administration as being politically motivated and pushing forward this agenda. On the flip side, Democrats see it as nothing more than the rule of law being applied in a just way. So as I was saying to you, very much a tale of two nations, two different views on the same issue.
So we've been showing some of those charts that come from that Ipsos Reuters poll. I want to focus on the independents because that in some ways is our best measure of those folks in the middle. And so it does say that 77% of independents do believe that Donald Trump paid Stormy Daniels to not talk during the 2016 election. So like you already noted, there is broad kind of agreement on both sides of the aisle that Stormy Daniels was paid off. Why does there then become that divide when it comes to whether that's criminal or not?
Yeah, I think it really is beauty in the eyes of the beholder, right? And so, yes, there's a consensus, a relative consensus in America that it actually happened, and you've showed the data already. Some differences from a partisan perspective, obviously, but whether that's criminal or not really depends on what side of the fence you sit on, right? And so Democrats and to a lesser extent, independents see it as such, that it was a criminal act, something that was done. It was lawless at maybe in the best case, while Republicans really see it as being politically motivated, not something that rises to the level of indicting a former president, which is unprecedented, as we know. And that's sort of like, it doesn't matter the question. It doesn't even matter the poll. That's, basically the outlook that we have, really two different stark views on the same set of facts.
And then do you think that any minds does it look like your data is showing you that there are people, particularly in the middle, whose minds can be changed? Have you seen, even involving, for about a week and a half, we were anticipating an indictment. So even though it hadn't yet happened, people widely thought it was coming. Did you see any shifts in the most recent polling that indicated that this could have an impact?
Yeah, it can have an impact on the margins, and I think it's important to sort of emphasize that. So within the Republican base, perhaps during the primaries, some moderates might sit on the fence and be wary of Trump, wondering whether he's electable or not. Obviously, in the generals, it doesn't help him. As we can see, independents tend to be more like Democrats in their views of this issue than Republicans, and so we have to keep that in mind. That said, Trump's base is very much crystallized, and we did another analysis in our weekly reflection on the data, and we looked at past impeachments and scandals. We looked at Watergate, we looked at the Clinton impeachment, and we looked at the Trump impeachments. And what do we find? Both in terms of Clinton as well as Nixon, we see movement in public opinion over time. So as the facts unfold, public opinion changes, Americans' views on the issue change, typically more negative towards whether it be Nixon or Clinton. When we look at the impeachments for Trump, they're basically flatlined. Even though the facts come out, the facts are interpreted, perhaps the same facts, but interpreted very differently, very little movement in public opinion. So summing that all up, yes, there might be some change on the margins, very slightly, but overall, we don't have a crystal ball, obviously, but our basic base case is that there won't be much movement in public opinion.
So I actually can show on the screen what you were just referring to as far as the polling on impeachment. And again, for Nixon, we see public opinion in support of the impeachment went up for every category. That's all Americans, Republicans, Democrats, and then the yellow line being independents. Same for Clinton. It didn't go up as steeply as Nixon, but it went up. For Trump, these lines are almost flat, but the one line that does go up under Trump from his impeachment is that yellow independent line. Does that indicate there could be a risk with independents when it comes to this criminal case and Trump?
Yes, I think that's indicative of that. But the question is, how does it affect him in a practical sense? And I think we have to look towards the election. So this chart suggests most likely in the primaries with Republicans, it will have little impact. Maybe on the margins, I said, maybe some moderates, but only marginally, as I was saying. And most probably more of an impact in the generals, where the independents really are the swing voters, are the ones that define the elections. As you can see, as bad things come out about someone, especially independents in the United States, they shift their views. And so, yes, that's a great point, Tia, and that's how I would interpret the data.
Well, thanks again, Clifford Young from Ipsos Polling. We appreciate you so much for joining us this morning, Clifford.
Thank you so much, Tia.
And again, we want to hear from you. What is your